So I feel like 2020 was an interesting year for all of us, to say the least. A lot of us took up new hobbies: gardening, banana bread making, sailing, maybe you took up race car driving. For me, I boarded the personal development train. And with that came lots of personal development books. In this video, I'm gonna be sharing my top 6 personal development books that I read in 2020. I will list all of them in the description below, as well as the total of the 21 books that I read this year. So I'm sitting here editing this video. Y'all wanna play a fun drinking game? Drink every time I say this book. It's like 100 times. You'll be plastered by the end of the video. That's all I have to say. You can continue watching. We're starting off with The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. This book is very fitting for 2020 as we face lots of obstacles this year. This book dives into the idea that we will inevitably face trials. Ryan talks about turning obstacles into advantages. One of my favorite quotes from the book is, "What stands in the way becomes the way." This book is a modern take on the idea of stoicism, which the Webster Dictionary defines as the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. This book is super awesome for just kind of figuring out how to overcome obstacles, because challenges are what make life life. They are inevitable. You're always going to face hardships. How you see them will determine the quality of your life. If you always are downtrodden by obstacles and you're like, ugh, life sucks, everything bad happens to me, then you're just never going to live a high quality life. And this book just shows you how to kind of shift your perspective and treat your obstacles as advantages. This book is for everyone, regardless of your life situation. Read it, it's awesome, highly recommend it. The second book is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Honestly, this book probably should have been at the top of my list because this is the book that started it all. It was the first book that I read on my personal development journey, and it covers the basis of the compound effect, which is the idea that a little bit over time gets you where you want to be. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to do little even baby steps. And that creates the end goal. It talks about life as a graph. So the slight edge is that you're always moving up or you're always moving down. And the compound effect shows a little bit, and then all of that little tiny work that you do compounds and you go shoo! Or everything that you're not doing, you're not taking care of your health, you're not taking care of your money, you're not taking care of your relationships, and you go down really fast. So that's basically what the slight edge is. It's super awesome if you're also on the personal development journey, or if you're on honestly any kind of journey. I think it's important to know that the little actions that you decide to make every single day determine your life. The third book is The Greatest Salesman in the World, and y'all, this is the tiniest little book you'll ever see in your entire life. The first part of the book is a story of a young boy who becomes one of the most successful salesmen in his city, I think. It was based before Jesus' time, so it's very old. The last half of the book goes into the 10 scrolls that the boy was given to become the greatest salesman in the world. And each scroll is broken up by chapter. In the book, the boy's mentor instructs him to read these 10 scrolls 3 times a day for a month, and then you can move on to the next one. And so that's kind of how you're instructed to read the second half of this book. The second scroll is my favorite. You've probably heard this quote. The first line says, "I will greet this day with love in my heart." The rest of the chapter goes into the most beautiful wordage. It talks about, "I will love the rain for it cleanses my spirit. I will love the sun for it warms my bones. I will love this light for it shows me the way. I will love the darkness for it shows me the stars." And it just gives you such an appreciation for life. This book is awesome if you want to become a great salesman. This book is also awesome if you want to become a great person. Number 4, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. 2020 was the year that I learned how to manage my money. I'm still not perfectly there yet, but I have opened up an investment account. I've started putting more money into my retirement account. I learned the right credit card to use, and I started an emergency fund, and I also started a savings account for those big girl purchases that are far off in the future that I want to start saving for now. And this book helps with it all. He goes into really meticulous detail about the psychology behind money and everything, honestly, that you need to know about money. Eliminating debt, finding the right bank and credit card accounts, how to invest, how to set up a retirement fund, and even how to spend the money the way you want. This book is so awesome, and the psychology behind it is really awesome because he doesn't tell you that you can't spend your money on what you want. We live in such a consumer culture, and it's kind of hard to not spend money on the things that you want because they're just in front of your face all the time on every single advertisement. And Ramit goes into detail about how to be smart with your money. When you get your paycheck, you put it towards the things that matter that you need to pay. And then everything else, all that leftover money can be spent on whatever. This is the first book on money I've read that doesn't talk about budgeting or how to budget, or you can't spend money on expensive shoes because then you won't have money when you're 60 years old. He just basically tells you to be smart with your money, and then being smart with your money allows you to spend your money the way you want. For all of the 20-year-olds out there thinking, I don't know what to do with my life. I feel like my friends are so much more ahead of me. I feel like I'm not on the right life track. This book is for you, and I don't have it with me because it's still in my moving boxes. Meg Jay, the author, is a clinical psychologist, but don't let that scare you because she's an awesome writer. And honestly, she's such like a cool aunt kind of writer. Like, you just kind of like want to listen to whatever she has to say. I even emailed her asking her if she would do Zoom calls for therapy, but she said she doesn't do that, unfortunately. Anyways, she's so cool. She has 2 decades of experience, and she gives real-life examples from her patients of 20-year-olds' lives. The book talks about how this second decade of your life, your 20s, this is one of the most defining decades of your entire life. She goes into everything about learning how to manage your money when you're 20, learning how to develop the right relationships when you're 20, just all of the things that I feel like 20-year-olds kind of throw out the window because, you know, life is short. Do whatever you want, but do whatever you want wisely. If you feel like you're behind, or if you feel like your life's not on the right track, I don't feel like I've said that about every single book, but I really do. I really recommend this book. It's an easy read. You can just read it at the beach, and it just gives you really good insight on being in your 20s. The 6th book is The Happiness Project. You guys, this book just gives me the warm and fuzzies inside because I love the concept of being happy. I feel like that question has kind of been like one of the most forefront questions of humanity. What is happiness? Can money make you happy? Are successful people allowed to be unhappy? Happiness is such like a cool concept to me. In her journey to becoming happier, the author Gretchen Rubin separates these happiness projects into 12 categories, and she works on one category each month. She talks about needing to generate more positive emotions to generate happiness, like joy, pleasure, enthusiasm, gratitude, intimacy, and friendships. And then removing those negative emotions like boredom, irritation, envy, anger, remorse, jealousy, all of those things that you don't need to feel happy. She approaches the concept of happiness like a science experiment. She shows that you can achieve something abstract with concrete techniques. It's not just like I'm gonna be happy because I choose to be happy because life doesn't suck for me and I just choose for it to be like that. She's like for real about her examples. She's done a lot of research about it, and she honestly just did a really good job writing the book and approaching the project. My favorite quote from the book is actually from C.S. Lewis. He said, "When I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret and would have been ashamed if I had been found doing so. Now that I am 50, I read them openly. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up." And I just feel like happiness can be found in like children, you know? They don't give a flying flip what you care about them. They do whatever they want to do, and they don't care what people think about them. And they enjoy those little things. And Gretchen goes into how enjoying those little things generates happiness. This is another awesome book specifically for 2020. And Gretchen also has a blog where she talks about her happiness project, and other people share their happiness projects, and you can even start your own happiness project. So yeah, these are the books that I read in 2020 that really honestly made a huge impact on my life in my personal development journey. Honestly, I feel like I've said this over and over and over again, but highly, highly, highly recommend all of them. They're very good if you want to figure out your money, figure out your happiness, figure out, honestly, your life. Let me know if you read any of them or if you plan on reading any of them and little insights that you learned. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.